Hi, we're Canyon Del Oro Hosa, and this is our Emotional Wellbeing Project. I'm Ava Biorgo.
I'm Riley Chesson.
I'm Jessica Mohan.
And I'm Peyton Mantrella, and we're doing the alcohol use and its effects in our high school community. Our topic is how alcohol is affecting high school students at our school. For our project, we took a survey and handed them out to our student body, allowing us to gather important data from our community. Asking questions on how alcohol affects students personally, we were shown the effects that it has on our school, and we believe that if we can spread more awareness, we can help prevent it. Okay, the relevance that this topic has to us was important, and that's why we chose it. Being in high school, we do see it firsthand on social media, athletics, being an athlete or seeing athletes do it, friend groups, and then parties, bonfires, football games, dances. And we believe that this topic is needed to be talked more upon deeply, especially in high schools. And not only is this affecting our students, but it also affects admin, counselors, teachers, and parents who experience it, and the relationships that students have one-on-one with all of these. And then being in the environment, we need to make a change, because this could send them down a deep path that could ruin their futures.
Alright, so this is our real life statistics on a smaller scale. So in order to get a more personal set of statistics, we decided to run a survey throughout our high school. So we sent out about 1,000 surveys into our elective classes, ensuring that we got a greater diversity with age and interests and things like that. We got about 300 quality surveys back. This meant that they were completely filled out and completely filled out appropriately. So we kept the surveys completely anonymous so that people would feel comfortable to admitting what they have done or what they have seen. And we asked various questions regarding their relationship with alcohol and what they've experienced through other people's relationships with alcohol. Alright, and so this is our freshman statistics. So we asked them how many times in the past year they had consumed alcohol, and we can see that about 80% have not had a single drink in the past year, and only about 2% have had 30 or more drinks. By sophomore year, you can see that this drops a little bit to around 58% that have not had a drink in the past year, and we start to see an increase in these middle numbers here, over 20% having 1 to 5 drinks in the past year, and we're getting a little bit closer to 5% with that 30 plus area. By 11th grade, junior year, you can see that this drops pretty significantly to only about 32% that have not had a drink in the past year, a significant increase in these middle numbers, with 1 to 5 drinks in the past year being over 25%, and we see about an 8% at 30 plus drinks per year. By senior year, you can see a drastic increase in change of our numbers. Only a little bit over 10% have not had a drink in the past year, and over 25% have had more than 30 drinks in the past year. So here's our data is linear progression. This is the purple line here is the amount of students who have drank more than 12 times in the year. You can obviously see a very steep progression through our line here, and then the dashed line is students who have not drank in the past year, and again you see that linear degression through the grades. So here's how our data compares to the national average. Our line is the green, and the national average is in the pink. And so you can see that we start with less students drinking alcohol, but by the end, we have almost a 20% gap on them. So yeah. Okay, so we also asked them if they had driven a car under the influence or they had been driven by someone who was under the influence, and here's the data from that. So by 9th grade, only about 17%, which is still a significant number, but not quite as significant as our 12th grade, which was 61%. And I don't need a slide talking about the dangers of drunk driving. We see thousands and thousands of deaths per year, and deaths of people who were not consuming the alcohol. So not only does alcohol consumption harm those directly drinking it, but also innocent bystanders. Okay, so interpreting our data. So we see a very strong increase between freshman and senior year, begging the question of why. So we think this could be due to peer pressure or just due to all of the new responsibilities that come with being a teenager. And so as we see, obviously side effects get worse throughout high school, leaving seniors at the highest risk for injury or death due to alcohol-related issues. And so this is our final graph here. This is the percentage of people who drink who claim to not be in control of their alcohol use. And you can see that by senior year, that is over 70%.
Alcohol affects our brain and body. After drinking alcohol, it takes 5 minutes to enter the brain and about 10 minutes to enter the bloodstream. The liver can metabolize 1 ounce of alcohol every hour, and after that, it leads to intoxication. Here we have some data relating physical disorders on the brain and body to alcohol abuse. We can see that there's an increase in strokes, heart disease, breast cancer, a lot of different types of cancers, all because of this repetitive alcohol abuse. How alcohol affects our neurotransmitters. They all are affected differently by alcohol consumption. Dopamine is our reward center and pleasure center, and alcohol will increase the effects of dopamine, making us happier and feel more rewarded and good, but over time it will deplete the natural dopamine production, leading to having people create addiction because now they want more, and then they have a higher tolerance because they are looking for that dopamine fix that they're not getting anymore from their brain naturally producing it. GABA slows down our body functions, and alcohol actually enhances that. So that's why we get those feelings of calm and anxiety. Glutamate is involved with memories and long-term potentiation in the brain. So when the alcohol interacts with the glutamate, we can have impaired decisions, we don't remember what's going on, the memories aren't formed and stored and encoded the way that they should be. Serotonin, just like dopamine, is a feel-good neurotransmitter. It increases our mood, it increases our appetite, and at first alcohol enhances that effect, and then over time it will deplete that, so you won't have the natural serotonin production that your body needs. Acetylcholine interacts with your muscles and your movement, and without that, with the alcohol prohibiting that, it slows down your muscle movements. You can feel sluggish and slow. And in conclusion, we can see that the alcohol affects all of our neurotransmitters differently, making our moods poorer, our muscle contractions slower, and our brain functions not where they should be.
How alcohol affects the adolescent mind. The adolescent brain has not fully developed its reward system. Alcohol releases dopamine, which makes us feel pleasure. The prefrontal cortex isn't fully developed in adolescent brains, and that's the rational decision part of your brain. So adolescents will feel rewarded when abusing alcohol, but they lack a fully developed brain to make rational decisions. So when they're under the influence, they cannot make rational decisions. How does alcohol affect mental health? An AUD, or alcohol use disorder, is characterized by drinking that controls a person's everyday life and is unable to be stopped or controlled. Approximately 28.9 million Americans ages 12 and over struggled with an AUD, and many also struggled with co-occurrence of mental illness as well. About 50% of people with an AUD also struggle with schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. 20 to 40% of people with an AUD also had anxiety disorder. Intense depression states occurred with 27 to 40% of people with an alcohol use disorder. And alcohol and mental illness do not have a direct correlation to each other, but they are seen as issues with co-occurrence and rather a cause to develop one or the other. Okay, this was one of the questions we asked on our survey, which was, have I used alcohol as a coping mechanism, or has the use of alcohol affected my friendships? Like our other graphs, you can see that from freshman to senior, there's a dramatic increase on both of the questions. Here's a graph showing some of the mental illnesses you can develop because of a codependency on alcohol or substance abuse. Some of these are bipolar disorder, anxiety, PTSD, OCD, ADHD, among others. Lastly, we also asked the question, has the use of alcohol affected my grades or participation in school? Again, like we saw in our other graphs, there's a dramatic increase from 9th to 12th grade.
Okay, and then in our conclusion, alcohol use within high school has been a serious problem, and it will continue to be if we do not bring awareness to it. Learning the reasons behind the rise in underage drinking is important so we can prevent it and be empathetic to everybody who's involved. To get help, please reach out to the National Helpline for mental health, drug, alcohol issues. Talk to your school support system. And then doing this presentation has really allowed us and given us the opportunity to connect with our school personally and see the problem firsthand. This will help us in our future healthcare careers because we have a deeper understanding of substance abuse and how teens do feel pressure to drink from outside sources.